Okay. All right. This was not already done before. This is our first go.
Woo!
I promise you. So, all right. Start this off. We're gonna cover or I'm gonna cover the homework that I was given by Andy from our last episode. He gave me some homework on to look into a song he recommended, and I gave him
What song
mine.
was it?
It was Under Pressure by Logic,
Okay.
and which is completely out of my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I don't know any rappers at all.
Right.
I've never listened to them. And so it was kind of jarring at first
Understandably.
because I went from listening to Hall and Oates to Logic, and it was like getting into a
I'm
cold pool.
out of touch.
Yeah, literally, yeah. And so it was like getting into a cold pool, and right before the cold water touches your nuts, and it's like ah, and it's like oh okay. I had to pause it. And I had to go okay, hold on, okay, I got to, and then I play it again. It's cold, and then just listen to it. And I'm like okay, just get used to it. Just get used to it.
That's
That's
so
how
funny.
that's how foreign rap is
Yeah.
to me.
No, and for women that are listening, it's the same sensation we have with our boobs in cold water.
I'd imagine,
Yeah.
you know, um, yeah. But okay, you got me. Yeah, sorry, you just threw me off.
Boobs.
No, you threw me off track.
Boobies, boobies.
No, you threw me off track, and I was like, 1 second. I don't think when boobs get cold, they retract into your body. Do they retract into your body?
I hope not.
You were looking at me
That's a
like I
lot
was
of.
like I was wrong here.
No. I was just paying attention. I was listening. What were you looking at over my head?
The door. I
Who are you
was.
talking to? The way the
Fucking
sound
love.
spiked when I said
I fucking love that scene in that movie.
what are you talking about?
Who are you talking to?
Because that's literally what went through my head as you looked over me. I was like, "What's there?"
I love
Anyways,
how entertaining the Truman Show is. I love how entertaining that movie is. But at the same time, it's like,
why did you turn this down?
damn, it's like because you could hear it. You could hear it.
Fuck that! I need to be able to hear my kid.
Well, you can. It's like you'd see if the line turns red.
It's not picking her up like it used to.
God damn it.
Yeah, so I
Are you
have.
charging this fucking thing?
Yes, plug it in right now.
Plug it in right now.
Plug it in right now.
This bitch nags at me all the time to plug shit in. I'm just kidding.
I mean,
I love how, like, if I ain't even joking.
Uh-oh.
Nice one. Nice one. So I'm just gonna continue this. Mary she went and woke up our daughter with her loud ass fucking laugh. So she'll be back. Um, but I'm going to continue on God, I was off track. I'm gonna continue on the Andy gave me homework on Logic, so I did listen to it, and after going through, the fucking I was over exaggeration of listening to music that I'm not familiar with, and it wasn't bad. It's not bad. Trust. I completely see where you were look why you valued that song is because it did tell a good story, and that's one thing that I'll mention is that there's certain rap that I can't listen to and it'll piss me off just because I can't even understand what the person's saying. With that song in particular, because I'm sorry, I didn't listen to any other song, but I just listened to that song, the full 10 minutes or almost 10 minutes. I think it's like 9 minutes and 17 seconds, but it I could understand what he said the whole time. And there were two things that were not in the song that were not present that are the two things that don't anger me. They just frustrate me because I'm I just it's something I can't understand and I'm trying to understand more and better of like and that's why I like to pick people's mind of what kind of music they like that's completely opposite of mine because I want to know why like what makes you like that kind of music and it's like what sets it off for you and I know I covered that with Andy, and um, but like the two big present things were, actually, three is like this ticking sound. This asshole judging music, and I don't even know what the hell that sound's called, and I'm just calling it a ticking sound. Well, it's a ticking sound, and then grunting. I don't like the grunting, and over not overproduced, but just bass that overwhelms the rest of the music, the rest of the song, and it's just and if you're playing it on something that's got like a decent subwoofer, like just a radio or a speaker system, like where I got at my job, there's this it's a speaker system that each department's got, and when that stuff's playing, if I'm near this radio, it fucking hurts my ears because it's like, and I'm like, and I can't plug my ears because I'm supposed to hear stuff, or I'll get in trouble if somebody higher up sees I got my ears plugged with something, which is kind of bullshit because this shit's literally making my ears hurt because I'm so close to it. It's like, and so and I don't want to get into it why I don't like that and why it angers me because it kind of spans a lot of the different subgenres and to the points where I'm like I'm okay with, and I don't want to step on toes when it comes to music because I respect music and the I respect the enjoyment you can get out of music, no matter the genre and like the person you are. You can like even if it's ghetto rap, it's like it's not anywhere near my music, and I don't understand that. But it's it's still music, and people enjoy it. And it's like, and if you feel the same way I feel when I listen to like the first album of America, and there's another one off the top of my head that I listen to that always gives me chills. I guess it's like some of the like the hits of Tragically Hip, like I mentioned in the last episode. Those songs give me chills. Some of those songs, and it's if you get that same feeling, you know, I completely respect that because that's just something. No matter if it's from the music or if it's from the lyrics or it's from anything, and it's you know, and that's what I respect that about music because music plays a big part in my life, and I'm trying to be less judgmental when it comes to music. But I completely, again, going back to the song "Under Pressure" by Logic, I completely understand it. I don't understand it, but like I understand, like I could hear every word he said. There was no mumbling, and he tells a story in that song. I completely respect that because a lot of songs I listen to tell stories as well. So it's like it's very similar and very different at the same time. But yeah, it's like the closest I'll get is like very very early hip hop. The closest I'll get to rap is very very early hip hop, and the what rap was born from, which was funk, and I'm all about funk. I love funk, and I wish that genre would come back. Like people started making songs in that sound again, and I wish, yeah, I because there's a lot of songs that they sound fantastic. Like the Gap Band, my mom loved the Gap Band. She talked about all the time, and it's like there's one song. It's Burn Rubber on Me. That song's awesome. Fucking love that song. If I want to be in a good mood, I want to do something. If I want to get stuff done or clean or whatever it is, if I put on that song or the Brothers Johnson, I know it's like yeah, the Brothers Johnson, and it's just or Delegation. It's like uh or Lakeside, Fantastic Voyage by Lakeside. There we go. That's a good one. And it's just or the classic You Dropped a Bomb on Me by also by the Get Band. It's just there's so many. It's like and I got a whole playlist of them, and it's just I over listen to all these songs so much. Or Outstanding by the Gap Band. Oh, there's every single I could say every single song on here, every single song, and it's I can say exactly why I like that song on this whole playlist. But it's just yeah, this I have a playlist just a mix of disco, and it's just literally called "Bringing Back the Disco and Funk" and everything in between, and it's Casey and the Sunshine Band, Diana Ross, Blair Johnson, the SOS Band, the Whispers, Heat Wave, Rick James, Andy Gibb, Chick, Delegation, you know, it's the Commodores, nobody my age is going to even ever heard of most of these bands. Maybe Chick, of course, Rick James. Everybody still hears about Rick James, I think, or maybe Heat Wave, but you know, and but yeah, it's like that's the closest I'll get to rap is what rap was born from, and but I can also that's why the earlier not the stuff that's coming out now that I don't get. I don't understand it. And no matter how hard I try to listen to it, I can't. It just doesn't hit any of the same things that all this other music I listen to hits, and it hits nothing. And it's it doesn't do anything for me. And but so because like I go from listening to disco and funk, to listening. So to me, it's like it's more rhyming than instruments. But I like the balance like that funk and disco has of rhyming and instruments. Because here's the thing, I like and I sound out of my place, like out of my element because I'm so young and nobody says this anymore. But I like music that's groovy. Nobody uses that word anymore. Nobody uses that term or that phrase. But I like music that is groovy and disco and funk. All those songs I mentioned and those bands, those are groovy songs. They're groovy. That's what groovy is. That shit is groovy, and that's why I like it. Who is it?
It's Jason Bourne.
She's back.
Jesus Christ.
She's back from waking up our daughter. So, you know what? This is our second go at this.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, to start this off, I've always been very interested in the ocean, but it also terrifies me, and that's why I haven't pursued it. Um, but something happened this past week that kind of like re-triggered my interest. So for context, today is June 23rd of 2023. On June 19th, this past Sunday, which was also Father's Day, a submersible called the Titan, made by Oceangate, went on an expedition down to the Titanic. Stop mocking me. I have to
That's
re-get.
why I missed you wearing
I
glasses
have to
because while
re-get.
she's talking, doing something else, and she doesn't even know she does it, but she like scrunches up her face for like a
It's the like
fraction of a second just because of her glasses hit on her
they
nose.
like fall down or they like tickle my nose.
Looks like you just smell something real
Oh
bad.
my god. But a submersible called Titan went down to go see the Titanic, and it had 5 people on it. The CEO of Oceangate, a French diver. I have their names here. Jesus Christ, where's their names?
A name, give me a name.
Yeah, so CEO of Oceangate, Stockton Rush, Hamish Harding, who was just one of the billionaires that was on it. He was one of the passengers. Paul Henry, I'm not going to attempt that last name. He was an experienced diver that was going with them. And then I'm going to fuck up these names. I'm so sorry.
Shazbot.
Shazada and Sulman Dawood. Shazada was just another billionaire passenger, and then Sulman was his son. The son is the 19-year-old that went with him that we were talking about earlier. So on June 19th, they all went down on an expedition and lost contact, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, the submersible is missing." And before I get too deep into it, I want to specify that there is a difference between a submersible and a submarine. A submarine supports itself does not need any external help or anything. It just it doesn't have like a limited supply of like oxygen on it, whereas a submersible does have a limited supply of everything, and it has like a host ship that drops it down and has to pick it back up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
um so that's the big
I
difference.
want to say, you said that a submarine does not have a limited supply of oxygen.
That's what my everything told me.
Okay. Because that's the one thing I'm like, I feel like that's not 100%.
Let's find
Because,
out.
you know,
A submarine is a sealed container that contains people in a limited supply of air. There are three things that must happen in order to keep air in a submarine breathable. Oxygen has to be replenished as it is consumed.
and
Literally,
it's
though,
also got to be regulated because as you get lower and there becomes more pressure in, even though it's not in the submarine, in whatever the hell it is, it's got to be regulated. Otherwise, the air will turn toxic.
right.
Because like when they were first discovering or exploring or experimenting with going like deep sea, not deep sea, but it's diving deeper than you're supposed to actually go, and with the first suits and stuff,
Yeah.
they compressed air and put it into a tank so so you could breathe this.
Yeah.
First person that tried that died
Oh,
because when you just take normal oxygen and you just compress it into a tank, it
yeah.
becomes toxic.
Oh.
But
But
hold,
anyways,
let me okay, we'll edit this part out, but I want to
yeah,
look
you're
up
good.
why.
I couldn't find anything else. But like when I had looked up like what's the difference between submarine and submersible, literally that's what it said to me was that a submarine does not have, maybe it said as limited as a supply, not like just not a limited supply at all. I love that when you're thinking you like touch your mustache or your lips. It's cute.
It's one thing that is I noticed that when my nephew was younger, and it's weird because I did this before he even existed,
Yeah.
but it's weird that it was me that he started doing this, and he's my nephew.
Yeah.
But remember that thing he used to do as a blankie?
Yeah.
And you rub it on
You
his
did that with
lips?
your binky.
I didn't do that with my binky. I just do that. I rub
Oh.
things on my lips even when I'm focusing and
Yeah.
I'm
That's
reading.
interesting.
But right, just I'm reading to breathe in diving. I don't. Uh, carbon monoxide. Oh, no shit.
What
What the fuck do you think I'm talking about? I said
are you talking
diving.
about?
Why does it think I'm saying? Wait, gas toxicity during diving. Wait, carbon monoxide poisoning. Yeah, I know.
Monoxide?
It says monoxide.
How
Um,
is carbon monoxide?
I don't know because you breathe
Wouldn't
out.
it be dioxide?
It'd be dioxide because
People are stupid.
you breathe out dioxide. Why do scuba
If
divers?
you're knowledgeable in this kind of shit,
As the diver goes
explain
deeper,
that to us.
the pressure on everything becomes greater. The volume of air in dive tanks is greater, smaller, while because they use just straight oxygen.
Right.
They don't use or they don't use just pulling air from you know pulling air because they
Yeah.
become. But I'm for some reason because I remember learning that it became toxic, and that's one of the first things they learned about when diving like deep
Yeah.
or
Deep sea
depth.
diving.
Just no, I don't want to say deep sea, but depth diving.
I don't think I meant to say deep sea. I think I
Because
just said deep
I
sea.
don't want to say that because I'm not sure if it was classified as that because I don't think they were capable of getting that deep. But it's like
Right.
that first diving suit, that
Yeah,
classic
the
first
old one,
old
the
metal
creepy
one.
ones.
Yeah, they just put compressed air and put that in there, and it's like that
Yeah.
air becomes toxic.
Hmm.
But
But you can't find anything
I
about it.
I can't.
We'll come back to it later.
But it's
Um,
oxygen
can you turn the
toxicity
light on? I'll turn the
in
light on.
diving systems. Flashing lights in front of your. Oh wait,
Well,
signs of what? Oh, this is signs if you have that. If you have oxygen toxicity.
oh, interesting.
Whatever.
But anyways, um, so these five guys board this Titan submersible to go see the Titanic wreckage. The Titanic wreckage is about, I got varying answers when I looked up how deep it is. It's between 12,400 feet and 1,300 feet. Or 13,000 feet,
Where'd you
sorry.
get? Where's your sources, Miss Reporter?
I think one of them, it was because it was news articles, and
You're
so I'm just gonna say
immediately
this right now.
untrusted because you
No,
said I
no, no, no,
think.
no. The news articles like
Fake.
the sites I know I used was The Guardian for the timeline that I'm going to be going through. Um, I know for sure I used CBS and ABC. I tried to avoid like Fox News and CNN because they've got those like they're biased for some stuff, you know. But one of my sources was CNN. I didn't mean to turn the fan off.
Uh,
Um, and I know Scientific America. Hold on. I wrote it down. I think it's Scientific America. I know I wrote it down and I can't find it. I'll find it while I'm in the middle of reading. Um, but I just went like I Googled, found reliable sources that I knew didn't have like
she Googled reliable sources.
I know I Googled reliable sources. Um, but anyways, so the Titanic itself is between I'm just gonna go with 12,400 for this instance because
12,400 what?
feet
All right.
below
What's the meters?
sea level. I don't
It's
fucking
around
know.
4,000.
Okay, cool, good.
I think. I'm immediately discredited because I said I think.
I know. Um, I was talking to your friend about the pressure.
Who's that friend?
I'm not saying his
What's your
name.
sources? I don't
Shut
trust
the
you.
fuck up. Shut the fuck
I
up
do
for
this shit to her
once.
all the time.
God damn.
Shut the fuck up for once.
um, and he said because my next the thing like the pressure down that low. He said 6,000 psi converted to pounds of force per square foot is 6,000 times 144 equals 864,000 pounds per square foot at that level,
Yeah.
which is crazy. So that's the pressure down near the Titanic. Yeah, Scientific America, I found it. This submersible,
Oh wait, hold on. Just because you were talking about the pressure,
yeah,
just think about when all the people finally sank. That died during the Titanic.
mm-hmm, that were still in the ship
No, like
or that were at
all the bodies that sank with it. I get they weren't no, they weren't
yeah,
alive,
no,
but as they got to that depth,
Jesus Christ, yeah,
they'll just start to they don't just nice and gracefully float to the bottom.
no, no.
No.
Um, but this submersible was made out of carbon fiber in the hull itself was carbon fiber and then the two caps were titanium. Usually submarines and submersibles are made out of like steel and titanium because it'll hold up better under pressure. But the reason that Stockton made this submersible out of carbon fiber was so it could be lighter and more maneuverable. He wanted to be able to write the name of the submersible in the sand with the nose of the submersible. And it could. He succeeded. However, carbon fiber does not hold up very well under that
I don't
kind of
know.
pressure.
Not to
Ding
make a
ding 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 ding.
not to make a a joke under distasteful joke under poor circumstances, but you might find the word Titan in a crushed soda can of a submersible on by the Titan somewhere around the Titanic
I don't
now.
think they got that far. But anyways, we're getting ahead of ourselves. He may I was watching a YouTube video where he's like giving a tour of
Oh
Titan
yeah, yeah, I saw
and
that too.
he's like I got this at like I
Oh
don't
yeah,
even
there's a
remember
bunch of
like
other things
a
that
like camping world or something. It was
there was a
the
bunch of
light.
aftermarket like
Yeah.
just hardware.
And the submersible is steered with a Logitech controller, like a video game controller. Because he was trying to appeal more to the younger
Young
generations.
20 to
He wanted
25-year-olds.
everybody to be able to use this thing. And
Yep,
he said
because
in the
20
video I
to
watched,
20 to 25-year-olds have $250,000
I
to
know.
just whop out like a big cock on the table. Yeah, they just there's a lot of them that have that amount of disposable money. Did you know that? To just spend on going down to the Titanic, then just inevitably dying.
Well, also, this controller was Bluetooth operated, so you could pass it
That's
around and
fucking
everybody could drive.
stupid.
I know.
Hey,
He literally said that in the video.
the one means of piloting this fucking thing,
Yeah.
we're gonna make it so it might just disconnect. You know
Yeah.
how often my fucking controller, when I want to play
You're
something,
sitting right next to
when I
your
want to play
computer.
something, but I can't. It's like a driving game or whatever. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna play a fucking driving game with a keyboard. It's just weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. That's like imagine driving a car and you're full turning and not turning. That's it. There's full
Yeah.
turning and not turning. You would
All or nothing, babe.
imagine driving like that. That's why I use a controller. That a foot away, from the receiver.
Yeah.
That fucking thing disconnects more times than I wish it
Yeah.
would ever disconnect. You're gonna trust that? Was there a different, as far as you saw or read? Was there a different means of piloting it?
Nope. Just that Logitech controller.
One thing I did hear as well was that there was he was saying in an interview that he didn't want any means of contact to the surface, and
Yeah. Yep.
because he's like, you know what's the most annoying thing is people because they want to hear you, they want to know what's going on every second, but it's very annoying when people from the surface are calling you. So
Yeah.
I didn't want
We'll
that.
get to his like negligence
I
in a
didn't want that. And
second.
it's like,
But
well,
what
give it a little time, and then we found out it's like, yeah, it's kind of important.
yeah. But also it's kind of, I don't know if this is usual for a submersible, but the one of the like the caps, there was no like hatch where you could let
It was bolted
yourself out
straight
if you
in,
needed to. It was just bolted
which
straight from the
I don't
outside.
really give a shit. I don't give a shit that people are saying that, because
Yeah.
at the depth that you are, you think you're gonna get out?
Right.
What
Well,
are you
and
gonna
it's
do?
that was another thing that I was like, well,
There's
everybody's complaining that like you can't open it from
there's
the
no
inside. It's like
doors.
you can't open it from
You ever
the
tried to open a
inside
door?
at that
You ever
depth
tried to open a
anyways.
door? Open a door in an airliner while it's in
Right.
cruising altitude? Sorry, you can't do that either.
Right.
It won't open because of the
Yeah.
pressure.
It's
It's
like you can't escape it even if you wanted to.
it's like, and it's so like anytime you see it in the movie or in a movie or in anything where they just straight up open the emergency door on an airplane, that
Yeah.
can't happen
No.
because of the pressure.
This submersible was also fairly small. You could barely fit the 5 people in there that it
They
was supposed to. It was 9 feet high, 8 feet
9 feet
wide.
high and 6 feet wide.
I
And
did the
cost this.
same thing. I did the same thing yesterday at work when I was talking to my coworker about this. But it was 22 feet long. It was literally the size of a small tour bus.
Yeah, I've heard it's called a minivan,
Yeah.
and then I heard it was like it's being it's kind of what would you call it? Being nice, calling it a minivan, and it's not even that. It's one of those
Yeah.
It's like with a car we have, a Ford Escape.
Yeah.
That's like fitting 5 guys in a Ford Escape, because you have to be comfortable or be okay with sitting cross-legged for 10 hours.
Yeah. Yep.
And
And it had a toilet in it, but it was like
that's
half a toilet.
it wasn't really
No.
it wasn't really a toilet.
But go
But
ahead.
it's yeah, there's it's you know and because he also said, and it's kind of not intasteful, but it's kind of like looking back at it now in hindsight, it's like, yeah. He didn't want, in his interviews, he didn't want
Hold on, you might be getting ahead of me.
about regulations.
Yeah, you're
Okay,
getting ahead of me.
okay, catch up now.
So to take it back, they started building this in like 2018, I believe. And David Lockridge, he questioned the sub's hull safety. Because like there wasn't really any checks done on it. They hadn't really like non-damage tested it at all. And to specify, Lockridge was the director of marine operations at Oceangate. And I'm just going to kind of read what I wrote here. He had raised concerns about the submersible safety after performing a quality inspection, and he was asked to do so by Stockton.
Wasn't he the whistleblower? And didn't he get fired Am I thinking of the right
You're
guy?
getting ahead of me.
I'm sorry. I'm asking. I was
Yes.
hoping. I was thinking of a.
Yes. Hold on.
Oh well, I'm, I'm not getting ahead of you. I was asking a question. I was making sure I was thinking of the right guy.
And you were getting ahead of me.
I
I'm
was not
getting
getting.
there. Yes, you were. Hold on. He was
Jesus.
worried about the lack of non-destructive testing. Lockridge asked his coworkers if materials had been scanned and was told no. He was told sound-based systems would check for flaws. Sound-based systems
Acoustic
checking
systems.
acoustic systems checking for flaws in a carbon fiber hull that probably should not be going down there anyways. Why would we, let's
It
not non-damage
it
test that.
was rated at 19 and 19.5
Yeah,
19.5 thousand
I don't know.
feet, and it was rated to go that deep.
Okay. Let's see. Lockridge was not allowed access to proper documentation. The report was submitted January 18th of 2018. His inspection report. The day after, he had a meeting with leadership of Oceangate, and I don't remember specifically who it was, but it was like upper, like
Yeah.
the important people. He recommended that Oceangate seek regulation and classification because Stockton was very, very adamant
Yeah,
about not doing that
it
at
didn't get
all for
classification at
whatever
all.
reason. Through a proper agency.
Well, because he knew it'd bring up shit. It'd
Right.
bring up problems.
Yeah.
He wanted to avoid all problems, if at all possible. Like every problem he wanted, or every possible scenario that would bring up, hey, this ain't right. This
Right.
shouldn't be like this because, it's not going to end up well. He
Yeah.
wanted to avoid that.
Lockridge was fired after the meeting and had only 10 minutes to gather his things. Oceangate sued him for breach of contract, fraud, and revealing trade secrets. Lockridge had then filed a lawsuit, like a counter lawsuit, and the case was just settled out of court in November of 2018. So they just like mutually decided like this is not fucking worth it or whatever. So that happened.
Can I bring up how odd this is, that this scenario, this whole thing, how it encaptivated everybody?
Yeah.
It
And I'm gonna
encaptivated everybody.
Yeah.
And I didn't really. It's not like I didn't care, but I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
So
I'm not saying it's not interesting. I'm just saying it's funny how it just captivated everybody's holy.
right. So then another lawsuit happens. So around November 28th of 2016, the Hagels, a married couple, sign an Oceangate contract for an expedition to view the Titanic. In June of 2018, they pay a deposit of $10,000 each. The contract stated that payments would be made in two separate increments. $40,000 after it's called Cyclops 2, first dive, which was scheduled for October of 2017, and then $55,129 due 4 months before the estimated excursion date for this couple. Midway through 2017, the Hagels had not received any updates or news from Stockton at all, so they asked for a refund. Stockton went to their home and convinced them to continue on by giving them more details about what the excursion would consist of. In January of 2018, the Hagels received new contracts stating that they need to pay full lump sum instead of staggered payments. They signed that contract in September and pay $190,250 in February of 2018, so a few months later. Oceangate renames Cyclops 2 a few months later to Titan. It was fuck that. Oceangate cancels the trip due to lack of testing and reschedules it for July of 2019. So the Titan did not have the proper testing that it needed and was deemed unsafe for a trip. So they cancel it.
Or they rescheduled it.
Right. However, Oceangate cancels again in June of 2019. So like a month before they're supposed to go, they cancel it again. This trip was rescheduled again for sometime in 2020, is all it said. At this point, the Hagels ask for a refund, and then which Rush had previously stated was an option at any time. This refund would be $210,000. No, $210,258. Stockton started the paperwork for the refund. Again, in June of 2019, Oceangate cancels due to equipment failure on the Titan. They yet again reschedule for July of 2020, just to cancel that trip again in October of 2019. In July of 2021, Oceangate demands the Hagels go on a trip to see the Titanic. Like demand that they go.
Yeah.
And the Hagels are like, fuck that. You have canceled on us numerous times for safety reasons and for lack of testing. We don't want to do that. Oceangate told them they would not get a refund. The Hagels are suing for damages, lawyer fees, and court costs. So that was the most recent, like that happened
How
very
much was
recently.
that? Was that total?
210,000. Yeah, $210,258.
Imagine having to fight to get a refund from something that's unsafe and you never even went on
Right.
and got rescheduled like
So,
7 times, and it's
and what's crazy
that
is,
it's to the gravel common folk that will never see that amount of money in 10 years, uh not being able to get that back.
yeah. And
And
what's wild to me too is when I was like looking through YouTube videos, and when I was looking at YouTube videos, I was looking at ones that had been updated more than a few like more like not recently,
yeah.
like a few months ago or like longer.
Yeah.
There was a woman, I forget her name, but I think it was a CBS like Sunday morning sequence.
Yeah.
And she had saved her money for 35 years to go see the Titanic. It was one of her dreams, just to have them cancel the trip because it wasn't safe. And she's like,
and
now
not
I'm never going to get to
and
go
not
see
get
it.
a and not get a refund,
I
right?
don't know. They didn't specify.
Oh.
She was crying in the interview though, and I felt really bad. So that lawsuit happens. They plan this Father's Day tourist excursion for June 19th. 5 people go. We already covered that. These people pay $250,000 each to go on here. I would like to state that the son, Suleman, who is 19, did not want to go. He was terrified, but he was pressured by his father because it was Father's Day. He wanted to spend time with his dad. His dad really wanted to go, so he went with him. This kid was terrified the whole time. So Sunday they set out, and it was like, I'm going to use Eastern time because we're in Eastern time. They set out early Sunday morning at like 8 a.m. with only 96 hours of air. It's a 2-hour descent to see the Titanic. And they're descending from Canada, somewhere in Canada. Um, Went missing on Sunday. Lots of communication about an hour and 45 minutes later. So at 9:45 a.m. is when communication just cuts. There's no tracking it, there's nothing. It was supposed to resurface at 3 p.m. The submersible was also supposed to resurface if anything went wrong. It was supposed to like let out airbags that help it float up.
Yeah.
And because
Chemically activated
yeah,
airbags and
because they didn't have communication, they weren't sure if it had risen, and because they can't talk to it, they just can't find it. But it was supposed to come up anyways at 3 p.m. It doesn't. So Monday, they start searching using ships and planes, like surface level searching to see if they can maybe find it. I forgot to mention the submersible is white, which it's not supposed to be because you can't see it from the surface if you're looking at it.
that's
Submersibles are supposed to be orange.
that's why they're
You know why?
that's why you always, whenever you see like those like mini submarines, but they're submersibles, they're yellow or orange.
Do you know why they didn't paint it orange or yellow?
Why is that?
Because they didn't like the color. Literally.
You know when you look at like sharks
Mm,
and they're camouflaged for the
yeah.
water,
Yep.
what color are they?
They're blue on the top and they're white on the bottom.
Yep. They're white on the bottom,
So
so
you can't see them from the bottom or the top.
yeah. And it's so
Yeah.
when you have something that's that color in the water in a marine setting,
Yeah.
you're not gonna fucking see it.
Right.
And that's
And
probably why it was so hard to find it.
right. Well, also it was so hard to find it because we didn't have the resources to go deep and like without France, we did not have the resources to go down that deep and find them.
Well, yeah.
We could only look for them at surface level
And then if
and use like what sonar or acoustic sounds or whatever.
it depends, like, because if there was survivors,
Yeah.
and using an actual submarine, if there was a submarine there,
Yeah.
if they actually use if you actually use sonar, I forget, I don't know this, but I heard
I
that
don't know
I don't
this.
know this, but I heard that that like sonar from an actual sub, like from like a nuclear sub, I don't think they're dead, would pretty much liquefy you almost.
Yeah.
It'd kill you. But I heard that there's pretty much only France and the U.S. If there was survivors and they found them, are the only two nation states that were capable of retrieving them. Because it's not like you can get out. It's not like your car broke down and you get out and get into a different car. They can't. They would have to crane them or grab that submersible without damaging it.
Yeah.
Grabbing a carbon fiber submersible, very delicate,
Yeah.
without breaking it, with some other kind of sub, because it would have to be either. I don't even think it. I'm not even sure if it'd be able to. It'd have to be a crane from a fucking big ass ship
Yeah. Well, that's
to
like
get
and like
down to that depth
they
without becoming
that's the
unstable.
right, that's the purpose of they call it the mothership of the submersible because
Yeah, it's
how they work is like you have it on the platform which is on the ship and the ship lower like you go off on the
yeah,
ship and it lowers down.
yeah. Aren't they kind of supposed to be tethered too? Isn't aren't they?
They're tethered at first. I don't know if they're supposed to be the whole time. I
Because
didn't look that far
I
into it.
heard that because I remember hearing that like
Like why wasn't it tethered?
a lot of submersibles are tethered
Yeah.
just so if anything happens,
Yeah.
because it's not like when you're diving, you're not gonna get blah, 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 blah.
It's like a sickness.
Oh, fuck it always uh I always forget the name of this sickness.
Right. Anyway, I'm going to continue and then you can come back to it. Um Mia, we had very limited resources, allowing us to go as deep as Titan did safely. Um, I like I, I think France had the ROVs.
The bends.
Okay.
I can never remember it.
And the ROVs is what they put down there to like look around. It's remote operated vehicle. Um, and then on Tuesday is when France chips in, and they're like, okay, we'll start helping. Um, Canadian Lockheed P3 Orion, which is an aircraft, detects sound, like a banging sound. And people were thinking that maybe it had been coming from the Titan because they were noticing that the banging was in 30-minute increments. So they're like, oh my God, maybe these guys are still alive and they're trying to tell us that they're still here or they're asking for help, whatever.
Yeah.
I couldn't find a sound clip that hadn't been memed, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
Wednesday is just more searching. The search radius increases to 2 times the size of Connecticut because at this point they're like they probably if they were like they could have been carried away by the current, who knows, they could have drifted, who knows where they are. What are you looking at?
You ever wonder how like what the bends is?
No.
What happens?
No.
So if you're diving, and so when you're underwater, not at a depth where it immediately just smash you, um, you're still getting pressurized by more than one atmosphere.
Yeah.
So all the air in your blood gets compressed, and so
Oh.
that's why when you're diving,
Ugh.
you have to slowly come back up so your body
Right.
can acclimate to,
Yeah.
and it can let out the oxygen as it decompresses. But if you just come straight up from a deep sea dive, all that air expands rapidly
Yeah.
and it literally ruptures your veins.
Oh, I hate
And
that.
I've never seen it. I didn't even know it's like it because it also like there's skin of like visual skin like
Yeah.
it's and yeah, like pretty much because I remember watching this one thing. It was about one of those blue holes. Have you ever heard of those?
No.
Where they're like it's like right on the shoreline, and it used to be like an underwater cave, but and from like Titanic tectonic plates moving and just water
Titanic
shifting and
plates.
stuff. It's the water goes over this, or it was this cave was like carved out from a volcano. It's
Mm,
usually by like islands,
yeah.
or it's or from glaciers.
Mm,
And but these blue holes, they go from being really fairly shallow, like 10 feet, 20 feet,
yeah.
to like 400 feet.
Jesus Christ.
And it's people like to go diving in those. And there's one blue hole that's, I forget where it's at, but it's most notoriously known for lots and lots of deaths.
Yeah.
And there's pretty much a guy that works there, and he is known as like he's like a grave digger, but for like diving.
Yeah.
He finds the bodies.
That's got to be
And
awful.
but there was one moment this guy like panicked, and he was an experienced diver, and he panicked, and he just swam straight up. And
Ugh.
before he got to the surface, because it does not take long before he's screaming, because the air is literally pulling itself out of your body.
Mm,
And pretty much he gets to the surface, screaming, dies. And it's that quick.
jeez.
And that's why I am never gonna go diving,
No,
because I would love to,
it'd be awesome, but it's
and it's
terrifying
it's
in the
it's
same.
fine if you're with, because you never do that alone.
No.
And if you're with somebody that's like very experienced, it's like skydiving, but it's like, and if you just come up gradually, and you don't
Mm,
rupture all your veins and stuff,
yeah.
it's fine. You get to see this amazing like just world that's doesn't even occur to us, that is we're on the
Yeah.
same planet. But it's like, there's a lot of risk.
Well, there's a lot
There's a
of
lot
risk
of
with anything to
oh
do with
there's
the
lots of risk
ocean.
with everything.
Yeah.
And it's the same way with like when I'm infatuated with space. And
Yeah.
so we feel like we're very 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 close to being able to like grasp the idea that some things that are futuristic might be a few decades away from us.
Mm-hmm.
Some things that we would only imagine in
Yeah.
a scientific film or a sci-fi film might be only a few decades away from us.
Mm.
And it's like those things. It's just like, you know, when that becomes available to more, not us, it's not going to be, maybe my great children might be able
My
to,
great children.
great children,
Great grandchildren.
they're great children. They're great children. They're children. My friends know them. My friends love
Oh
them.
my gosh.
It's
I don't want to get too far off topic.
yeah.
I
Well, I'm just like
Yeah.
it's the same thing. It's not, but it's great risk.
Yeah. Um, do you remember anything I said while you were looking up the sickness?
No.
Okay, so on Wednesday, there's just more searching.
Yeah.
Um, however, the search radius increases to 2 times the size of Connecticut because at this point they're thinking they could have gotten taken away by the current, they could have drifted off. Who knows where the hell they are? They don't even know if they made it to the Titanic. Um, and by now people are speculating, well, what happened to them? Because if they are still alive, they're running out of air because they only went down with 96 hours. And I think they were estimating like very early Thursday morning they would run out of air.
Well, they only went down. With an estimated 96 hours,
Yeah.
because because since the expedition isn't planned to be like an overnight
They were
stay.
only supposed to be
It's
out for 10 hours.
Yeah, and it's not planned. It's not like, okay, this is how many hours of oxygen we have, because it's
Yeah.
only supposed to be this long.
Right.
So it shouldn't even be a worry. It shouldn't even be a worry.
Right. So by now people are coming up with theories what happened to them. A lot of people are saying they imploded because there's no other way that you could just cut off communication like that or just like lose
Well,
communication. Hold on.
there was
Hold on. Or people are saying they went into the Titanic and got stuck and that's why they can't do it. Yeah, like the Austin Powers meme. Um And like I already said, some people were thinking that they were just taken away by the current. What were you going to say?
a lot. There was when this first was happening, I was really on the like they just fucking imploded.
Yeah.
They imploded because everything went dark immediately. They imploded
Right.
at that depth. But I heard some reasoning where it gave like the idea of like, okay, they might have went dark because there was past experiences with that same like submersible
Mm.
where the electronics are faulty. They'll just go out.
One of the YouTube
And
videos I watched, with the CBS guy, the CBS reporter actually went down to see the Titanic, and it shows him going down to see the
yeah.
Titanic. And multiple times they had stated that some of their equipment had malfunctioned
Oh
and they
yeah.
lost
Yep.
connection or
Yep.
whatever, and they were
And
like, "Oh, just
I
gotta go
can't
back up." And I'm
I
like, "What the
and I
hell?"
can't remember what if it was that sub or not, but there was one of the main hull frames, like structures, that was something happened to it. There was a malfunction with it,
Mm,
and it was held together by zip ties.
I don't think it was the same sub.
It might have been a different one, but it was by Ocean. I think it was by Oceangate. I can't remember.
Probably.
I heard that one.
Um, and also at this
I
point,
didn't. It wasn't that the reporter said that there was a lot of things that on the sub that seemed
jerry rigged.
MacGyvered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Um, also at this point, people have come up with the theory that Stockton
Stockton.
um
Doesn't he
planned
sound?
this.
Doesn't his name sound like a character in Skyrim,
Yeah.
like a Bethesda game?
Um People think that Stockton had planned this because he was hoping to flee to avoid the fraud lawsuit that we had discussed earlier.
Fully wear into the Titanic?
I know.
You gonna
One
live
of
in
my
there?
coworkers, she was like, he's probably off somewhere else. And I'm like, fucking where? Where do you go? And I was like, they found the I'm getting ahead of
He's gonna
myself, but
get like 10,000 feet.
they
This is my
found the
stop.
debris. And I was like, how would they flee and still leave debris? She was like, well, what if they just like left just like dropped some? And I'm like, that's not how that works, because do you know how small that thing is? That size is literally probably the size of our car.
Yeah.
Like
They just like
they
opened the
can't
window,
just they
rolled down
can't
the window,
just
just like
drop
dropped
another
some like screws and bolts, and then just rolled the window back. Okay.
roll the window down. So Thursday at 6 a.m. is when they're estimated that they're going to run out of air. And at 8 a.m., they finally deploy the ROVs to
Yeah.
like search around on Thursday. At 11:48 a.m., the Coast Guard discovers a debris field. And I don't remember exactly what it was containing. It wasn't the hull at first that they found. It was like one of the fins and one of the like caps or whatever.
Capsule.
They found it 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic. They don't know how deep they got. They just know that that's where the debris field was, 1,600 feet away from the Titanic. And at this point, we have drawn the conclusion that the Titan imploded. Again, I got the timeline that I just read off from the Guardian website. So honestly, implosion was probably best case scenario because they didn't suffer.
It wasn't probably that is the best case scenario.
Right. Hold on.
Because otherwise, it went to how long it took them to find the debris field. If they were still alive and it was an electronic malfunction and they were just sitting on the bottom they were sitting on the bottom of the ocean wherever they were, they would have ran out of oxygen.
Right.
And that would have been a much worse death. Even though it's not like you just got all the oxygen taken out and you're like
Right.
no, as the room would fill with carbon dioxide,
Yeah.
you would just kind of get really sleepy.
Yeah,
You
you
get
get
really
really
tired
sick.
and you not sick,
People say you get nauseous,
you
you get
probably
sick.
get nauseous,
Yeah.
but you just get really tired.
Yeah.
And you would just fall asleep.
Right.
And that's it.
The amount of time it would have taken the implosion to happen is 1/20th of a second, like 32 milliseconds.
Yeah,
I
you
think.
ever see one of those? I remember seeing a video a while ago, and somebody was like, they were doing a kind of a demonstration
Yeah.
of what our one atmosphere can actually looks like, because
Yeah.
it's what we live in all the time.
Yeah.
We're made to live in our atmosphere, so it's nothing to us. But they used a metal bucket, and they demonstrated what one atmosphere will actually do and pretty much it's pretty much what it is you just suck out the air.
Yeah.
You suck out the air,
I actually
and
wrote like what happens when
or
a
he didn't. It
submersible
didn't suck out
implodes.
the air, but it pretty much made like a little chemical explosion that ate up the air
Right.
inside this bucket. What happened when he ate up all the air inside the bucket? The bucket just
Yeah.
into a little pancake.
Yeah.
It's just in our one atmosphere, and
Yeah.
it showed that's what's always on top of you. All that weight, because all this oxygen, it does weigh something.
Yeah.
Everything that's above you is actually on you.
Yeah.
It's weighing on you.
Yeah.
But we're built. Everything on our planet is built to. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter anymore because
We're built for it.
it's nothing now.
Yeah. Nobody's built different.
But when you remove all the structure that's already naturally there,
Yeah.
we would implode
Right.
into nothing. And it's
And they're not going to find bodies because there's nothing left of them. And whatever tiny pieces there may have had been floating around in the water was eaten by fish or taken away by the
yeah, it's
current or is in
literally
the
the
dirt.
size of like a tetra fish food, like little flakes. It would have been flakes.
Nothing, never
Yeah,
mind.
and it's if there was any chunks of body parts or flesh, it would have been like the size of flakes, but
Yeah.
worth which fish or they would just float away, they'd drift off.
Yeah.
And even if they landed somewhere, the odds of us finding it at that depth with
Yeah.
a remote control like thing,
Yeah.
that's literally I don't think those things that have grabbers on them,
No, they're just like viewing things.
they're just viewing, because that's what they've used to actually view the Titanic most of the time.
Yeah.
Is these RC
Yeah.
submersibles. And yeah, they don't got grabbers and shit on them, unless there's maybe
Got grabbers.
there's probably a couple that do. I would
I
imagine.
don't see why they would need them.
I would see at some point like, why don't we just put some grabbers on these things?
Yeah.
Very very simplistic, dumb way of saying it, but
Yeah.
like, okay, we're gonna re-engineer this to have a type of claw, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's just like if whenever I'll get into it, it's like how incredibly engineered rovers that they send to Mars are. They're not just fucking RC cars. It's like they're it's like they're so highly engineered, and but it's it's
Yeah.
other subject, but it's like
But that's all I like had done research on. It was just like surface level. Like I had to know what was going on. I was very encapsulated by this, and I don't know why.
how much below how much of the iceberg did you research into?
Not very much. Probably like the very tippy top.
Joke intended.
But
good job,
when
Dylan.
I was, because what brought this to my attention was TikTok, unfortunately. But a lot of the commenters and other people's videos were like, there's a lot more happening than just the sub. So like I wanted to include like what else was going on while the sub stuff was happening. And I feel like a lot of the reason why the sub got like paid so much attention to was because it was billionaires.
It's a fantastic, very convenient distraction.
Yeah, because during that time, a strange meteor fell. A man called 911 and reported aliens in his backyard after multiple people had seen something crash, and multiple people had seen this alien. A man filmed he was on a boat and filmed a siren in the water. Do you know what a siren is?
You know what's funny? I believe the aliens more than the siren.
Do you?
Yes.
I
don't believe the
both
siren.
Equally.
I don't believe the siren. Because where the fuck are they?
Right. In the ocean.
I believe we would find aliens from outer space sooner than we would find a siren.
There was a green light spotted on Jupiter.
I heard about that.
Yeah. Orcas are attacking yachts. Just, I don't know why. I don't know if it's to eat people or for fun, because orcas are assholes.
Well, I fucking heard about this earlier today.
Yeah. I didn't dive too deep into that.
It's because something happened to one, and it figured out how to affect these boats, and so it taught the other ones
Oh, orcas are smart as shit, but they're
Yeah, and
terrifying.
there
They're
was a
aggressive
there was a
assholes.
guy. I forgot no guy. There was somebody that's kind of known, kind of well known. I can't, again, I'm not good with names. It's not gonna stick in my head, but I just remember that.
Yeah.
I remember this, what happened, and he's pretty much saying we shouldn't. And even though everybody's kind of like just jokingly like cheering on the orcas because it's like, yeah, what they're having fun, and it's like they're jokingly saying that, and then this
Mm.
guy's like, don't cheer these orcas on because they're actually terrible. They're terrible. They eat baby seals
Yeah,
and
orcas are
they're killers.
assholes.
And it's like, there's what they're called, fucking killer
Yeah, they're
whales.
called
And
killer
also
whales for a
bears are the
reason.
same fucking way. They'll eat you while you're still
Dolphins are
alive.
assholes too.
Yeah.
Dolphins are just cuter, so they don't get as much shit for it.
Yeah.
But also what happened was a fishing boat of Pakistani refugees crashed near Greece. Did you hear anything about that?
I think I've heard like a
I'll get
little
into
bit of
that.
it.
The Supreme Court ruled against Navajo Nation in a water rights case, and there's just increasing numbers of missing Native women, just like alarmingly increasing rates of missing Native women.
There was also what's going on right now too, and this conveniently it happens.
Are you gonna go into the Hunter Biden
Yeah,
thing?
the
Yep.
Hunter Biden thing.
I didn't know that that had happened until today.
Yeah, I
Like,
heard about that 2 days
yeah.
ago.
So the strange meteor, we'll start with that one because I'm gonna just briefly cover all of them. Meteor showers come from. I don't know if I can read
God,
that.
what do
There
you
was a
think?
meteor
What do you
shower.
think this podcast is? This a news podcast now?
Yeah. I thought all of this stuff was interesting, and I didn't want to like
I
just
like
focus on the
I
sub
like the
thing.
meteor thing
Yeah.
because meteors don't often get into our atmosphere
Right.
because of how crazily
Well,
protected our planet
listen
is.
listen to this. So there was a meteor shower. Um and do you want to kind of explain what a meteor is for people that like
Like the difference
didn't pay attention
the
to in science
what was
class?
the difference between an asteroid and a meteor?
Yeah, and a comet.
Yeah, a comet. Okay, a comet. Comet is full of ice.
Yeah.
There's ice. That's why they're very beautiful
Yeah.
because it's literally like gases are breaking off of it, burning. And comments are. I'm doing this off the top of my head, and I'm starting to our coffee's starting to wear off. So
Yeah.
give me a second. Here I'll just just because I'm getting
Here,
a little.
I'll read what I
No,
wrote.
hold on.
Okay.
Um,
Jesus
go
Christ.
go.
Okay. This is what I wrote. Meteor showers come from comets, which are made from ice and dust. The stream we usually see coming off of comets is from the heat of the sun evaporating the ice, which releases gas, and dislodging dust and bits of comet.
I gotta see when the next comet is going to be going by
Yeah.
because yeah, a comet is an icy small solar system body
Mm.
that warms and begins to release gases when passing close to the sun.
Yeah.
A process called outgassing.
Yeah.
This produces and extend gravitationally unbound atmosphere or coma surrounding the nucleus,
You lost me.
and sometimes a tail of gas and dust gas blown
Mm.
out from the comet, and that's what we
Interesting.
see.
So the particular meteor shower that just went through is called the Geminid stream. And
I didn't.
this.
Sorry, I never specified what's the difference between a meteor and an asteroid.
Oh, go ahead.
A meteor, an asteroid is just a rocks that are just floating
Yeah.
in space. They're not being affected by anything. They're floating along with all the other rocks in a belt, or because they usually float around in a belt because they're affected by some kind of gravitational pull wherever that may be, and and then a meteor is when it has been grabbed by a gravity of
Right.
something else, or like you could probably call it a meteor if it was grabbed by the sun, but it's like it's never gonna see it. It's gonna burn up like it does when it enters our atmosphere. And so a meteor is when it gets grabbed by a different gravitational pull and heads to that body, that space body. And it's and then so but the thing is, the reason why we don't see a lot of them on Earth is because we're protected by our atmosphere. Our atmosphere does a fantastic. Our atmosphere and our a magnetic field does a great job at deflecting a lot of shit,
Yeah.
a lot of space shit.
Yeah.
When it comes to gamma rays from the sun,
Mm.
when it comes to asteroids or asteroids that become meteors, they burn up a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
times. So they'd have to take for something to get through our atmosphere and actually hit. they have to be very big
Mm-hmm.
because they go through lots of heat.
Yeah.
Like I when the space shuttle comes back down from when it re-enters atmosphere,
Yeah.
it gets so hot. Okay,
We're getting off topic
yeah,
a
but
little bit.
yeah, I wanted to specify or how hot things get when they enter our atmosphere. When
Okay.
meteors enter our atmosphere, like how hot they get.
Yeah.
But continue on, and then
Yeah.
I'll punch back.
So,
I'll come back in with
like
this.
I said, the stream of meteor showers that just came through is called the Geminid stream, and this stream originates seemingly from 3200 Phaethon. I don't know how to pronounce that. I got this straight from the NASA website. Like every bit of information I'm about to spit at you is from NASA themselves. And that is an asteroid, Phaethon, I think. These asteroid types usually aren't affected in the same way as, like, I think they're not supposed to have like those tails, you know. Um,
Well, wait, what tails? What do you mean?
that's just what the NASA website said. It said these asteroid types usually aren't affected in the same way. However, this meteor had a tail on it and it wasn't supposed to.
That's fucking hot. During a meteorite's 10 to 15-second trip through the atmosphere, air friction heats its surface to a red hot 1800 degrees Celsius,
Jeez.
and which heated to it's well more than 3000 degrees Fahrenheit or approximately 2000 Kelvin.
Jesus Christ. So yeah, I thought that you would think that that little meteor thing is interesting because I guess NASA said it's not supposed to have a tail, and it does have a tail.
Well, I remember watching a meteor shower when I was not real little, but I was fairly little, and my parents heard about there. We were going to be passing through a meteor shower in this time of month,
Yeah,
and so
the Geminid stream probably.
as it was a while ago, I don't remember. I was so little, but we just sat out in the driveway and we just looked up at the sky all night, and I remember seeing a lot of meteors and meteorites, and they're no, not meteorites, meteors. Meteorites are what you can find after a meteor has hit the
Yeah.
surface. But I remember that we would see small ones, small meteors. They're
Mhm.
just you just see little, it looks like sparklers, like fireflies.
Yeah.
And then I swear I remember seeing ones that they would stretch right across the sky because they were bigger.
Yeah.
It takes a little longer to burn up, and I swear I saw black streams behind them,
Hmm.
like it was smoke.
Yeah.
But it makes sense that they said that that's not smoke. That there shouldn't be have tails because they're being incinerated.
Right.
It's if anything, if there's any kind of gas that might be on them, or anything other than just hard metals, and it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
there wouldn't be smoke technically. There shouldn't be, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I still believe there was smoke because I thought that was fucking awesome when I was a
Right.
kid.
And then the green light on Jupiter. So I'm going through the TikTok videos and everybody's like, they caught a green light on Jupiter. What could it be? What does this mean for Jupiter? And I go on the NASA website and they're like, it's lightning. And it's green because of the ammonia in the atmosphere, because Jupiter's atmosphere is literally like ammonia and water, right?
Yeah,
So that's just what that was. I thought that that was cool.
I thought Venus's atmosphere was ammonia.
Mm.
Um, it's like, have you ever seen? Imagine if what somebody from that's in the ISS, the International Space Station, sees during a lightning storm. They can see the light. They can see.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure they can see it light up.
yeah.
Which imagine seeing that
That's
shit.
cool.
Imagine seeing that shit. But I
Did you see that video I sent you?
no, I didn't.
I watched, I'm like 95% sure I sent it to you. This guy who was, I think, in the space station. I don't remember. He didn't say where he was, and I'm dumb. But he took a paper, like not a paper, like a washcloth that they had, because they condensed those into like discs, and he unfolded it and he goes, this is what happens when you try to wring out a cloth of water. And he took like drinkable water and he squirted it into the paper towel, or it's not paper, but like the washcloth, and he held it in his hands, and he went to wring it out, and it went from the paper towel and like coagulated like jello
Yeah.
onto his hands. And I'm like, that's fucking
Yeah,
cool.
it's water retention.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what. That's why if you ever see those images where like a diver, a competition diver is about to emerge out of the water but hasn't broken the surface
Yeah.
tension,
Because the water
water likes
tension.
to grab on itself.
Yeah.
And when it's in a zero gravity environment, it will literally coagulate and
Right.
grab on itself,
Right.
or it'll grab onto whatever's touching it.
Yeah.
Which is very crazy.
I like it.
So
It was awesome to
that's why
see.
if you were in a zero gravity environment and there was a ball of water, you could literally go and you could suck up the entire thing.
Yeah.
And that's like, imagine doing
That's
that shit.
awesome.
That's fucking cool.
So then after
But wait, hold on. I'm sorry, I might have missed it. Where did you say that was
what?
when you saw that video?
TikTok. It was
Where,
a TikTok I sent you.
oh,
I'll see if I can find it.
where were they?
I don't remember. He didn't say, and I'm dumb. I'll see if I can find it.
Because I'd be very surprised if they were able to do that on the ISS. Because like
They probably weren't.
because there's a lot. They're not supposed to have any kind of floating water or anything that can just kind of just drop like
Have to get
drops.
past all the
There can be
stuff.
just drops of it everywhere because then
Mhm.
it could literally just be everywhere. It can float away everywhere, and there's a lot of electronics that are very susceptible to water or
Right.
moisture. So I'd be surprised if they were able to do that there.
Did I save
But they
it?
might have some kind of like area that they can, because I know they often they like to do little cool from the ISS. They like to do little demonstrations of how things act in a zero gravity environment. It's not a zero. There is a slight because they're orbiting. They are still getting affected by our gravity, but a, there's not enough of it
Found it.
to actually pull you.
He doesn't specify where he is.
That's the ISS. Isn't that cool?
That's crazy. We will never get
Yeah, you
to
see how it's
experience something like
floating,
that.
but the water is still kind of falling.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Because that's the one
That's not the
thing.
same video I
That's one
found.
thing a lot of people ask is how does water act in zero gravity?
Yeah.
It's very neat because
Right.
of like the water, like I said earlier, the water retention. It'll grab onto itself, so it won't just kind of float away in like a mist.
Right.
So but that's also because it's in a higher temperature. If that was just floating out in space, it'd immediately freeze and just it's gone.
Yeah.
It'd turn into a gas. Eventually, it would resort back to a gas, which everything in space is gases and rocks.
Yeah.
You know. But it's a thing I found about Venus. I always thought that Venus had an atmosphere of ammonia. It's not.
What is
It
it?
is just it is a toxic atmosphere of carbon dioxide,
Oh.
and it's perpetually shrouded in thick yellowish clouds of sulfuric acid. So like pretty much battery. It's
Yeah.
battery acid as an atmosphere, and
Yeah.
which cause what is called what it says is a runaway greenhouse effect, and that's why Venus is so hot
Mm.
because the clouding it just all heat that's coming from the sun,
Yeah.
it just sits there and bounces off its surface and its atmosphere constantly. So that's why Venus is so hot.
Yeah. That
It's
makes
not.
sense.
It's not. It is closer to the sun from us
Yeah.
but it's which also makes it hotter. But it that atmosphere adds to the effect.
Yeah.
But that's also why I heard one of the coolest theories is that if got to the point where we're actually traveling efficiently from Mars to Earth, and we're actually have like a genuine like sci-fi kind of space station, we would use Venus as a gas station.
Oh.
We wouldn't actually go to the surface.
Yeah.
We'd have like a cloud city.
Yeah.
We'd have pretty much floating blimps like sitting in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And that would act as like a gas
That's
station.
cool.
Wouldn't that be fucking
Yeah.
awesome?
So the next thing, oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Is the refugee boat that goes missing. So on June 14th, this is before, but I didn't know about this until
Oh.
recently.
I'm sorry.
What now?
Okay, no, continue. I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ.
I just found a thing.
I'm already talking and you're like, hold on.
Did you hear me go, hold on. Stop right there.
You put your hand up.
I said,
I'm being
wait
goofy.
a minute. Because literally, I didn't even scroll down, and there was that theory, and it was building on it, what I just said about Venus. And it says, despite the features that make the planet's surface inhospitable, its thick global cloud cover may present gentler conditions for some microbial life forms due to the availability of sunlight, nutrients, and some water, all of which can create narrow but habitable zones like those theorized to exist high in the atmosphere.
Wild.
And that's why if we were able to get to that point, yeah, we would have a floating city there.
Yeah.
Because the atmosphere is so thick, we'd be able to float easily, and what gas or what we'd need to use to keep that floating would be in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
It'd be already there.
Right.
So it would just sustain itself.
Yeah.
Which would be, think about that. It's nuts. Okay, you can go back to it.
So on June 14th, a fishing boat full of Pakistani refugees is attempting to be smuggled to Europe. Pakistani's interior minister has estimated that 700 people were on board this fishing boat that sank near Greece. It is estimated that 350 are dead, but they are not sure. Only 104 people have been rescued. 82 bodies so far have been recovered. Officials are collecting DNA samples from families who claim relatives may have been on board to aid in identifying bodies. The government is searching for the traffickers who arranged for the boat's voyage. Currently, they have arrested 17 people. Victims paid between $5,000 and $8,000 to be smuggled to Europe in attempt to have a better life. And it included in the article that families are urging people to not go for being smuggled into countries, especially if it's overseas, because of shit like this. Your boat can sink and you can die.
Yeah, and it's just genuinely a good idea not to, because that could also just as easily lead to human trafficking.
Right.
I feel like a lot of times it leads to human trafficking.
Yeah.
You just want to, you go, a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy, and that you talk to that guy, and he's like, he gets a hold of that other guy, and then, okay, we got to meet this guy here, and then eventually, and it's like, okay, and you're going to be put into a box pretty much, and you're going to be put on here, but then ends up being, you end up being sold to somebody.
Yeah. That reminded me of some news I heard today that deeply depressed me that I won't share here because of how dark it was. But it's similar to what you just talked about. So yeah, the refugee boat sank and there's a bunch of people missing, and a lot of people were feeling like the submersible news kind of overshadowed this, because I didn't know that this had happened until yesterday. And it happened on June 14th, the day after our daughter's birthday.
Well, it's because people with money matter more. Don't you
Right.
figured that out yet?
That's what I said earlier.
You figured that out yet? The banks a while ago, that big bank and what the fuck was it? The San Francisco National Bank.
Yeah.
When that just completely imploded, no pun intended. That was fixed in a weekend.
Yeah.
Money was sent to keep it afloat, which, in my opinion, that shit shouldn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
If a company dies, let it die, no matter how big it is.
Let it die.
And
let it die.
Especially the big companies. If those companies have such a massive fuck up where it literally makes them go bankrupt and they're out of money, fuck them. Another company will take their place eventually. And
Spirit Halloween.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, if they would have let natural selection eat that fucking bank right now, those banks would be
A Spirit Halloween.
But that problem was fixed in a weekend.
Yeah.
You know how long the problem in East Palestine's still there.
Yeah.
It's still there, but it doesn't matter because nobody there is rich. Nobody there has a lot of money.
Doesn't Flint still have water
Oh,
problems?
Flint still has a fucking
Yeah.
lot of water problems.
When we've had what, like
They're all
two
drinking. They're all drinking
governors?
number 2 pencils.
The last one that I want to bring to light, but I don't know a whole lot about what's going on, and I didn't want to misspeak about it because it's not my place to speak about it, I feel like, is the Navajo Nation water rights.
See, this one I haven't heard of.
Because it's so deeply underground. For whatever reason, it shouldn't
Who do
be.
you know?
But
oh, there's a friend on the floor.
Can you get him? Don't let him do that. He was fast.
Yeah, spiders do that.
Yuck. The Navajo was asking the federal government to basically get them water to their arid environment. Not like, I don't want to say get them water. That's very vague. From and this is where my downfall is when it starts getting like political, my brain like shuts down.
It starts getting to a not culture. Fuck, what is it called? I'm not in my game right now.
I don't like talking about politics is my problem.
Well,
I'm not a
it's
political
not really
person.
like it is politics, but it's not. It's the fuck is it? It's I'm gonna never mind. I can't think of it. It's
Let me see if
I almost want to say it's not culture politics. It's I can't remember. I cannot remember for the life of me. But yeah, I haven't heard about this one, and
Let's see. This is from nnwrc.navajo-nsn.gov. The nation possesses extensive water rights, but these rights are largely unquantified. The Navajo Nation claims Aboriginal, historic, appropriative, and reserved rights to the use of all the water necessary for the Navajo Reservation to be the permanent homeland for the Navajo people.
Where is this located at?
I just read off the website. Do you mean the website or the Navajo Nation?
The Navajo Nation. Where's the reservation at?
It's some of Utah and some of... I need my other phone. It occupies portions of northeastern Arizona, northwestern New Mexico, and southeastern Utah.
You know, I think of sometime in school I did. Well, let me see that map.
I'm gonna keep reading.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing this reservation. Why is there an open area right in the middle of it?
Fuck if I know. White people told them they couldn't be there, probably. That was insensitive, I feel like. I'm gonna edit that out.
Damn. GDP is 12.8 billion. That was in 2018. Tribal Council was 1923.
Continuing on to read. Such rights to water have been judicially recognized by the United States Supreme Court in Winters v. United States, 207 U.S. 564-567, 1908. Winters' rights or reserved rights have the following attributes: a priority date based on the date the lands were taken into trust where the water is to be used, are satisfied out of the unappropriated water available when the lands were taken into trust, applied to all tribes whether lands were set aside by treaty, statute, or executive order, are not lost through non-use and cannot be abandoned.
You actually notice how close we were when we went to the Grand Canyon? Because we drove through Flagstaff. That's how close we were to the Navajo Nation when we went to Grand Canyon. Do you know where the Grand Canyon is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
Hope so. We went there.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why there's an open area right in the middle of it.
Why?
That's the Hopi Reservation.
Probably Hopi.
There's another little one next to it. What's that? There's a place called Second Mesa.
If you are knowledgeable about the Navajo Nation water rights case and can sum it up for me in, I don't want to say, I'm dumb. So like in sum it up for me in like a more casual
It
way,
takes
because
us.
I'm reading this
It,
government website and it's just going right over my head because
it, ta-
I just can't process it.
it takes a skill to go take
But
straight
basically,
information from that's legal shit
yeah.
and be able to sum it up to where you can actually explain it,
But
and it's a skill.
from my understanding, the Navajo are asking for water, because they're in the desert, and the government said no, basically, because they don't want to.
It's funny, the fucking Colorado's like, you know what, to your Navajo Nation, fuck you, and it right where the state cuts into it, it just matches the borderline of Colorado.
God. But basically, the federal government doesn't want to because they feel like they're not obligated to because of um, a treaty. But again, I'm not super knowledgeable about it. I would love to be knowledged about it, but all like the research I was doing, like I said, it was going right over my head because of the language that every article was using. I'm like, I'm not understanding this.
It's very
I
technical.
want to understand it.
Yeah, when you expose yourself to more of it and you read more of it and you're
Yeah.
like, okay, what the hell's that word? Look it up. Okay, what's that word? What's that mean? Look it up, and then you become more fluent with it. That's how when it gets really technical with like scientific shit,
Yeah.
I read it and I can actually comprehend it.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I kind of get the idea. I might not know, I might not be able to point to you exactly what the hell that was,
Yeah.
but I'm like, I kind of get what that was though. I know, kind of have an understanding. It's not flying right over me.
Yeah.
Yeah, too, when it, like 100% like just legal shit is read, that stuff will kind of fly right over me and my eyes will glaze over.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, I lost me a few sentences ago, but like, yeah. And also, I'm like, I don't really have like if I don't really have a straight opinion about about that the water rights. Like, one, it's inside our border.
Yeah.
Whole fucking country gets water. Just give them fucking
Give them
water.
the fucking water.
But at the same time, that is kind of a waterlocked area, a landlocked
Well,
area.
that's why they're asking for
Water.
water, is because they don't have access to it. And the
Yeah.
government's like, sorry, it's in a treaty that they can't do that, or they won't. I don't remember which one it was, but they're like, it's in a treaty, so we're
And
not
it's
going back
also
on it. And
it's a
it's like,
really that's a very touchy subject that's been fought over since the creation of the US, was that they were here first,
they were here
and
first.
it's like, that's a whole touchy thing. I have no place in that because I am some half breed of Canadian that I'm not even Canadian, but we're very close to Canada. So we're all the way mid up north
Yeah.
and they're out west. So it's like, I never have to deal with water.
Right.
We have water fucking around us.
Yeah.
We're
Well, and it's
living in a
also like
peninsula.
I feel like
So
it's hard for me to feel like I can voice an opinion about it because it's not my culture. Like
right.
it's not a piece of me. And because it's not a piece of me, I'm like, it's not my business, but also like it's affecting other people. And even though they're far away from me, I'm like, my compassion is like, give them the water. And maybe we should be putting more effort into these missing Native American women and less of it into billionaires that imploded an hour and 45 minutes into their
And we
journey.
all kind of knew they did.
I
At
only
least
feel
90.
bad for the kid that was on there because he didn't want to
Yeah,
go.
he was
The rest of
19
them,
years
like,
old.
they signed a waiver. They knew that it
They
was a
signed a waiver
possibility. They
and
paid $250,000 to
$250,000,
go.
which was just literally pennies to them. It's
Yeah.
literally pennies.
I saw a TikTok of a girl that did the math, and she was like relating it to buying a coffee or whatever. And a quarter, the money that those guys spent on that adventure, uh, was like the equivalent of like 14 cents per coffee or something.
No,
I don't
it's
remember.
when you have billions, multiple billions, 1 billion. If I had 1 billion, it would extend throughout the next multiple generations
Yeah.
of our offspring. It
Yep.
would extend that far
If we have
without
$1 billion,
nobody
we're
would
building a
ever
house.
come in unless somebody literally just started trying to buy every single estate in the country. Yeah, you're gonna run out of money. But if you just literally okay, you get a house that we're all we're all okay with having just a normal sized house. It's a little bit of land, and you explore what you're interested in, and you don't ever have
Yeah.
to worry about food or giving your family,
Well,
your family.
exploring their interests is what got those motherfuckers into the mess in the first place. They were like, the ocean's kind of
Well,
cool. What if we saw the
no,
Titanic?
I'm still talking about the whole scenario.
I know. If you,
If I
yeah,
suddenly just had $1 billion,
right.
they have multiple billions,
Yeah.
so it it's
Yeah.
nothing. It's nothing. It's not that ticket was nothing.
Right.
When
Yeah.
when tickets become available to go out into space, go to Mars, those tickets are going to be nothing
Yeah.
to the people that have that much money. But the sad thing is, what helps fund a big thing about like going to Mars and shit? Tourism.
Yeah.
That's what will be part of the growth
Which it
that will
sucks
pay
that that's
for.
that way.
Well, it's kind of like the only thing that will get it to that point because
Hey,
it's
it's almost like an Artemis.
it's yeah, it's almost like an Artemis. It's incredibly expensive
Mm,
to transport materials to Mars
yeah.
to make it so we can actually that a person might be able to stay there.
Uh-huh.
And it's not like they wouldn't be able to come back because there'd be shuttles pretty much going and leaving and going all the time.
Yeah.
People would always be able to come back.
Right.
Yeah, it'd get kind of weird if like if somebody's born on Mars. I'm not sure if they'd the first part
Would they
first.
be like really tall and skinny?
I don't know. I
I think
I
somebody
f-
said that
I
if
feel
somebody
like
was born on Mars, you would be taller and skinnier because the gravity's
I don't
different.
know how it would affect the first generation though of
Oh.
Martian
Hmm.
person, Martian human.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would affect, but I'd imagine it would affect them a little bit. If it didn't, if it affect them the least, it affect them a little bit
Right.
because it affect your growth plates
Yeah.
because there's less strain. You know what you look like or what a baby looks like when it's first born. It's kind of like an alien.
Yeah, it's a little
You're
chunky.
you're like you're kind of they're spindly kind of their arms kind of just kind of bend every which way and
Little
there's no
dinosaur
shoulders
arms.
really, and there's like the chest, like the rib cage is kind of almost like a football instead of like a rib cage. It's kind of like
Yeah.
a football, like it's like the end of a football, so it's like a point.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that'd change. That'd stay like that,
Oh.
but probably not to the first generation. That'd probably start happening at the third generation.
Right.
So if you only had Martian humans breeding with Martian humans, then that would eventually it'd be like incest almost,
Yeah.
it'd build off of that it wouldn't be a mistake, it'd just be an adaptation,
Yeah, it's a genetic mutation.
but they'd never be able to come to Earth.
I can't say genetic mutation. Yeah.
It
Yep.
is a
Would it
mutation.
be a
It's not,
mutation?
no, it's
It's just like you said. It's just an
it's an
adaptation.
adaptation which can be considered a mutation because it's
Okay.
mutating to
Yeah, that makes sense.
adapt, and it's um
It-
adept is a difficulty. It's but that's the thing that's crazy. They'd never be able to come to
Yep.
Earth. They'd need to wait wearing.
Like an Artemis, she can't go from the moon back to Earth.
She would be, she would be able to, but it'd be
Wouldn't she just be really weak?
She'd be extremely weak.
Yeah.
Very weak because she already lives in the atmosphere in the
Yeah.
dome, but she doesn't live with the gravity.
Right.
Mars would be kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
You'd live with the atmosphere because if you didn't live with that atmosphere, you'd
You
suffocate.
die. Yeah.
You suffocate. So that's wherever humanity goes, you'll still have the one atmosphere,
Right.
one Earth atmosphere, because
But
that's
the
what our
gravity will always be different.
but the gravity will be different, and that would judge whether you'd have to like in the show the Orville, they had
Yeah.
to go to a planet that one of the people that were on the ship, it's like the parody of Star Trek pretty much, Seth MacFarlane's parody of Star Trek, which is very good. It's very good, and even if you think, oh, it's just a parody of Star, it's good. It's just give it a shot. But I'm gonna wrap this up with this. My wife's gotta go. My wife's gotta go to the bathroom. So
Wow.
wow.
I whispered that so they did not have to hear that. And you're like, I'm just going to tell the whole world. My wife's got to make a pee pee.
Well, I didn't say that. Kept it fucking a little bit private. Um, but one of their crewmates had to go back to their home planet, which had this like the gravitation, the gravity of like Jupiter. They had to go to that planet, but they had to wear suits to keep themselves from getting crushed by the gravity.
Yeah.
But she was fine.
Right. She actually ended up being weaker because she was so used to the gravity that they were
That
in. So she
yeah,
was significant, even though she was stronger to everybody else because of her home gravity. When she returned home, she was used
weak.
to their gravity and she
And they
was
had a
weak
term.
compared to her
It's funny
family.
because they had a term for that because in that whole universe, and it's like they had a term for that because whenever we get to that point in in space, which I believe we will, you know, we seem like kind of weird right now, but we're like in the middle, and I think we'll get past the great filter and of making a sustainable colony somewhere else. If it might be on the moon, I don't know how sustainable it'd be on the moon. I don't know if there's. I've never even looked into it if there's even any water there, but there's water on Mars, and it'd be neat to know when I look up that there's people out there. That'd be just the thought of that's insane to me. But yeah, if there's people being born on a different planet, they wouldn't. And that's lesser gravity than ours. They wouldn't be able to come here. If it was more gravity, it'd be kind of weird because it'd have to be a little bit more gravity. Otherwise, it'd kind of start killing you. But that'd be weird. Trying to live on something that's like 1.12 or 1.1 Earth gravity. It's like everything's a little bit heavier. You just end up with a bunch of beefy people. It'd be like big rock people. Everybody's like built like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and but it's this is what I think about a lot. Is just this shit. I daydream about this all the time because I don't believe I'll be able to see it in my lifetime. I don't think I will be. If I do, I'll be pretty old when something crazy like this finally happens. But I do think we would get there. I do think we'd get to past that great filter, and something wiped out Earth. We'd keep going. But I guess I'll wrap up this. You know, I was kind of going with the I let Mary take the wheel on this one, and because she had a lot of things to talk about, she wanted to talk about all the things that were going on in this past week, and so yeah, this was a not too funny, but if you didn't know about any of these things, you know a little bit. You know a little bit more about very unknowledgeable people. You're welcome. And yeah, well, that was a good one. And hope you guys enjoyed this. Like always, if you got any questions, you got any stories, if you got anything at all you would like to share with us, we'd like to read out or read with all you guys. If you want us to read, or if you guys even got any feedback, negative or positive, that you'd like to give, just just email me at Hell's Popsicle QA at Gmail, and you know we'll we don't got much right now, so if you email us anything, we'll read it. I'll read it out loud if you got a story or whatever. If you got a question, I'll read it too. Doesn't matter what it is. Me and my wife will me and my wife will discuss it. We'll talk about it with our best knowledge that we carry on our shoulders. So, but yeah, you guys got anything like that? Give me some feedback. Give me some stories. And my wife would we would enjoy reading that stuff out. So, all right, that'll do it. Peace, everybody.